obvious way in terms of the adoption of EVs, right?
Oh yeah.
If you go to any major city and you go to the wealthiest neighborhoods, you're going to see a lot more EVs than you will ever see in the poorer neighborhoods. One is because they are still much more expensive than a gasoline powered, injection engine. But like that is part of the problem that those people are now getting better air quality just because they can afford it.
Yeah.
Which is leaving other people behind in terms of health and quality of life. This
Yeah, think about injection engines considering next to a pump
Yeah.
that just spews on the
I don't remember what it was that I read recently where
coal
somebody was
chunk thing,
referencing
charcoal
being
thing.
in a place that now has like
It has so
high
much power that
adoption
isn't being
overall of
used.
EVs, and realizing how different the air smelled without
Yeah.
gas-powered cars.
Yeah.
Oh man, Tokyo last year blew my mind.
Yeah. It made me think about growing up in North Carolina in the 70s and 80s when everyone smoked inside and how everything smelled horrible all the time.
Yeah.
And you could go to the mall.
That must
you
be
could
who
buy
I get
yourself
it
a
from.
brand new outfit. Get it home, it already smelled like
I don't think it
because you
smells
could
bad.
smoke inside in the mall.
I mean, I couldn't tell because my mom smoked 4 packs a day. So
I
had
think the
no
fridge can
discernment.
smell bad.
So yeah, we just sort of lived in that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, I have thoughts and feelings about a lot of things, a lot of frustrations. And as I was wrapping this up, I was reminded of basically this time last year, feeling like there were multiple intersecting critical things
Are you
at the
licking,
same
Charlie?
time that it would be nice to reference
Look,
in
look,
some way on
look,
the
look.
show, and just not having enough episodes
You want to snuggle?
physically to do it
Mm,
all.
good
So
for
if
you.
you're listening to this and saying, why haven't they said anything about X? Just because we have finite numbers of episodes and also need to do things that keep our own minds sane at work.
That is a big one for me lately, where I'm like, I can't talk about it right now. My executive function will just collapse in a pile of stuffy things.
They're the sanity
In
endorsers.
comedy, though,
Yeah.
you mentioned several times we call out the fact that Evelyn was a royalist.
They get checked first, and then check
I don't
us,
know
and then
that
they
you
check
needed to,
the
because
first
that's
person like
the
their third
excerpt of his
person.
writing. It's really
Because I'm the leader. And if I was a tyrant, that'd be really ugly.
Oh, you're going to have
of us. Like,
our wonderful benefactor, the king, is going to do such great things. Yeah. Yeah.
oh my goodness.
Getting big head rushes, and it feels good. Well, little.
Yeah,
It was pretty big.
We just took us there.
Yeah. Yeah.
You're the best
I found it very funny. The how many opportunities he took to flatter the king
Yes.
in things that were not necessarily about that.
It's just in my head, the cartoon that plays is like
Sounds like my boyfriend.
the person receiving that information and receiving that flattery. Right? Like, I don't like that kind of stuff. It makes me want to crawl into a tin can.
Owen
and
considered me the
away.
king.
Yeah.
But
And he
there
was
are
just
people who
like,
love it.
Right.
he would read that part of the
right.
Bible, and he would recite it.
If there was
He was so cute. David probably remember him when he was cute. He stopped coming around when he fucking roided out by
You don't
accident.
need to round
Got
it
drugged.
quite that much.
I'm big. They're called obese babies.
The only thing I actually noted at the end of the outline to try to remember. to
Call me
say
obese.
behind the scenes is that I watched a video of
So
a
bad,
lecture
I'm
by
sorry.
Shannon Darley, about this. And I don't remember which of his works she was talking about, but she described it as having drawings that he did that were, quote, very valiant and not utterly successful. And I had to pause it.
This
so hard
is.
at that
That's Owen and I.
characterization.
Just kidding.
And I was like, I
Not
should
everything
look
is
that
about
up
me.
really
It's just
quick and
funny
see
because
what
I
it
did
looks
say,
like,
I'm like,
and I
oh, your art is valiant.
right awaiting you.
Because we were like, we read the Bible every morning.
So
great.
Yeah.
Something to give it over.
yeah, he's somebody think that for sure
Get over
could've
the
had
shit.
a whole episode just on his biography.
Yeah, I could use husband, but
I'm gonna spend more time
I
talking
can't
about
pressure. It wouldn't make
this.
sense.
Amusingly, in my opinion, named Princess on Air Pollution.
Good.
Yeah.
I feel like we
I meant
should
to
put
wash
that
this
word on
table.
shirts. No explanation.
I meant
or
to.
nothing, just
Have a picture of like pretty garden flowers underneath.
not
I
even
honestly
just the
think
word.
His
Like the
whole
new
plan.
Juicy Couture.
Yeah, his whole plan of like ringing the city of London with fields full of flowers and fragrant plants. I'm like, that sounds lovely.
I mean, that does sound lovely. One of my favorite things, I know I talk about it ad nauseum, and I'm sorry for anybody who's like, we know. One of my favorite things about having several hydroponic gardens in the house
Uh-huh.
is how good things smell.
Yeah.
Like when I walk into my cantina and the flowers are blooming in there,
Aww.
it's like heaven. It's like heaven.
Yeah. Yeah.
Even on a really cruddy day or if I'm stressed, I just walk in there and I'm like,
Yeah,
Mhm.
take swings at him one day.
One of the places
Yep.
that we went to in Morocco,
For the sanity test.
that place where we had the meal outside with the winery.
oh,
Not like I care.
yeah.
Outside. They had some huge.
I
if
care.
I'm remembering
That's why.
correctly.
This whole
Jack
job is
Lynch
starting to
plant.
wear me down. I'm not very
Yeah,
good at it.
yeah,
Like I'm
yeah.
actually very good
that
at
made
it,
the
but it's not
whole
good for me.
area So fragrant. It was almost overwhelming walking through them.
That's not
But
good.
like, once you were,
I'm gonna have to option out of the army.
it was like a little
Because if you
list
can't
of
care,
lovely flowers.
you can't
that-
race up and save the
I was
day.
kinda worried about Patrick because
Save the
he is
life for what it
allergic to
is.
flowers, and I
And
was
maybe
like,
you just aren't meant for the
"Oh, we're gonna
army.
have an issue," but he was fine.
Yeah, it's starting to really bug me. Think about the gore and stuff.
And I don't know, you probably didn't notice because you were busy eating and talking, but I vanished for a while because I just went on like my own little flower tour. I was taking pictures of flowers. So I could
Probably because I have a
use them in
creepy
fabric
fever at my
prints.
back.
Yeah.
They had a rose there
In my
that
justification.
smelled, like cloves, which is something that happens with some roses. I have some, but they don't look nearly as. They were like a what sometimes called like a ruffled rose, where they have like the double
I'm gonna
bloom.
wait and drink
And
later.
it smelled just incredible, and I was like, I'm intoxicated. I'm never leaving this plant.
I love it. Yeah.
Until Brian was like,
Yeah.
"You, where are you?"
Yeah. I'm a big supporter in having accessible green space.
It
think it's really
makes a
important.
difference. Yeah.
I like
Thanks.
housing also. Housing and green space. We can have both.
Hippie.
I want those solar lights if they're indoor.
Yeah.
To-
We got an amount of snow,
And we stretch our wrists every
Oh,
morning
yeah.
too.
and I took
Because when you go like this, they need to be sort of flexible, right?
about 2.5 hours
So stretch
to
your
hike through the
wrists.
snow, because it was also the right temperature for me to do this. It was
Practice.
just warm enough that the
Who
snow was
knows
not
a
melting,
lot?
but
Who
warm enough
knows?
that
And
I
that's a
did
good
not
way to
feel
get
like I
away
was
with
miserable
being
out hiking through the snow.
non-religious or
Yeah,
religious.
and it was great. And I
Oh,
was basically stopping to be like, look at that tree covered in snow. It really restored some of my emotional bandwidth.
I love it.
Like stomping through the woods with my boots on in the snow.
dude, I wasn't lying though. My brother,
We're talking about
Learning
ladies
disabilities.
in the Olympics.
Yeah, he's a
or
bit
almost
autistic.
In the Olympics.
But so is Colleen.
That too.
I already knew that. She's still my friend.
handful
Oh,
of
fuck
things.
yes.
Okay. One is just silly, which is that there was a write-up I read about Alain de Bordelaise, which was written by, I believe he is Swiss, a Swiss scholar. But the only funny part was that he called like her
Get your whole
group of
hand moving.
aristocratic yachting
It's good
friends.
if you're into life
Yachties.
saving.
I don't know if that's a real term or not. Yeah, but it made me think of Bob's Burgers, on which yachts come up a lot, surprisingly. And I just could not. I only hear it in voices from that show now. I'm like, yachties. It's really funny. Helen Priest.
Yeah.
I'm
And,
not that person. I did not ever go through a horse race as a kid. I didn't have it. Like
I'm
many
bad.
kids do. Yeah, so
I'm
I know
good.
very little about horseback riding.
Bad.
I didn't know about side saddle jumping.
Because you have to do
but
that.
People
Yeah.
still do.
Okay.
Yeah.
Holy smokes, that looks terrifying.
And you're blind too, probably, because you get
Knew about
dust in your
side saddle
eyes.
jumping. Probably, I think Gone with the Wind is
Oh, it never
There's your
registered
love
to me
a
as
movie
from
that
an
has a
expert
formative, it's not
who
the right word,
almost
a movie that
died
has a critical moment involving
depression.
a child riding side saddle and jumping. Not even a big jump, unless I'm confusing it with some other movie.
There is some. Listen, that's
You
another
remember
thing.
Colleen at the
Blame
parties?
it on
I'll give you
Emily
just of a
Blunt person.
memory.
So
She would
I
always
get
point
what
out
you're
that I'd
saying
say, I'm
about
going
it.
to save my drink and watch it.
Yeah.
If we're in a
'cause
bed.
I was never a horse kid, so like even if
Yeah, I'd be
it came up in
sipping
a
it.
movie, I would not have fixated on it.
Yeah.
Like it wasn't even
Yeah,
happening
I
anymore.
didn't know. Who knew?
That's
Also,
Colleen.
I think some of our neighbors are snowblowing, so hopefully none of that is being captured in our audio. If anyone is watching this or listening and saying, what is that strange noise that I can hear at the love in the background? The answer is we have almost
Hey, Tundra.
20 inches of snow on the ground here.
Yeah. There is a great story about Helen Priest that I found so charming, but it was not germane to her Olympic bid.
Okay.
Which is that when she was in New York competing,
I'm
one day
hard-headed.
she decided to take her horse for a ride through Central Park. And she was fast. She was
Yeah,
fast
and my
as lightning.
puppy.
She was very comfortable
It's a
riding at
puppy.
very fast speeds.
Papa
But
Rotti.
the police of New York were not accustomed to seeing anyone on a horse going that fast through Central Park. And they thought like the horse had gotten
You smell so
scared
good.
and she had lost
no.
control
You
of
smell
it.
like sap.
And they literally were like giving her chase.
Saplings.
And instead of stopping, she was like,
You want
leave
cat
him on a
treats?
little chase. Keep in mind, she was a teenage girl at this point. I think 16. And when she finally
Are you
stopped and
tailwind?
the police caught up to her,
When
she
you
was
tailspin, I'm gonna dye
like, hey,
you
I'm
yellow.
Helen Priest. I'm the person that just won all those awards.
Just giving her.
Here in New York.
Yeah.
And they were like, oh, okay.
You're so happy.
It just made me laugh so hard.
You're so
the idea of her
happy.
leading people on a chase. Don't do that. It's not cool. But it did make me chuckle. I also had to laugh at Pierre de Coubertin calling her a neo-Amazon because he
That's
someone
enough.
who's like a very,
That's
tall,
enough.
super muscly, strong person. Helen Priest was like a petite thing. She was very
You've
a
got
girl at that point.
some
She was
nerve.
still a teenager. So it made me. I was like, "How are you trying to spin this, my dude? Like that's not it."
Boop. Boop, boop.
Oh,
Okay, you can have some more.
Pierre.
It's a big
that whole
container, I
thing.
guess.
Listen, he still has one of history's best mustaches, but
Yeah, he does. I do remember that. I blocked the sexism out of my brain, but I do remember the mustache.
yeah, I mean it's interesting because there are people who defend him as like, no, that's the product of his time.
You keep her
and
happy
he was
girl.
very chivalrous, but like chivalry at its heart is demeaning to women in a lot of ways. There's a difference between wanting to be polite and kind and respectful and being like, no, honey. Let's
Bomb. Show me your face.
And I will
It's like,
say,
who?
it came up in some of the things I read about, and I didn't really jump into
Weird to live
it
on a camera,
in this
ain't it?
outline. But there were a
Doobie-doobie-doobie-doo.
lot of men. It was not as though that was the only prevailing opinion among men at the time. There were men who were like, why not let these women compete? Like, they're athletes. We're all athletes.
Yeah.
This is, we have room. We can make this happen. And there were a lot of men advocating. There were also some men saying really stupid stuff. And at least
Sorry, you think I'm
had
gonna
this
hit
great
you?
response
Oh, wait.
to,
Slobber
I
off.
think it was a runner who just said some really, unnecessarily stupid and gross things about women. When she was referring to him and Coubertin, she said, quote, they can do themselves a favor by showing some interest in women's sport. They shut themselves away in their everlasting male egoism.
Because you can't even notice it, the dog. We're dogging it. We're all dog long. Good, you can't even notice it, the dog. We're dogging it. Our dog long. See you later. You want to leave, you can leave.
People that were
You like your back scratched, though. Oh, yeah.
we might do better if Elise were not so assertive and abrasive. Like, she's too brusque, she's too blunt in everything that she says. And, like, it was very much like we'll catch more flies with honey than vinegar. Which, like, listen, I really know your audience, figure out which tactic is going to work best. But this is also the same group of women who were like, oh, yes, we'll take just the 5 after you promised us 10 sports. It's fine, it's fine. They were like, no, Helen, don't be so mean.
Yeah, well,
That's what I was saying too.
10.
All the tread overs
also,
were
like,
treading over
there are
and
a
made
lot
us
of
supplumpless.
circumstances in which women are
It was
framed
broke
as
being so
aggressive
nice.
or shrill or whatever, doing something that would not raise any eyebrows whatsoever if a man
They
were doing it.
consider that a
And
stat.
so when I
The
kind
women
of
are becoming
scrolled
too
to
mean.
the end of the outline and I took a peek at
No,
what you
no.
had noted for yourself to talk about it behind the scenes, and I was like, I already have feelings about this one.
I knew you would. I know that's a very sticky point for you.
I find it very frustrating.
There's a part of me, I don't want to say this in a way that sounds like I'm discounting your thoughts on the matter, or anyone's. I don't find it as frustrating as you because my response
Last
is usually
time
like, well, okay.
At combat,
And then I say expletive you, and then I walk away.
they
from that
wanted to get rid of the
person, and
old
never talk to them
rifles that
again.
are
But
wood.
that's just me.
Are you guys okay?
Because I'm never going to convince that person.
Right. Well,
But
I'm
it's something
more
other than what they
frustrated-
perceive, so I don't
Yeah.
care.
I am more frustrated by
Feeling your
the role it
autismism.
plays in society than on
But
like,
no
me as an
autism?
individual person.
What
yeah,
is a
but I
water?
think this is why I'm drawn. This is why I'm drawn to Elise Maria because she was like,
I was feeling pretty
"Cool, we'll do our own
sensitive
thing. I'll
too,
make my own system."
but
I'm
not
"Do it."
quite like
Like,
the gun
that's
was
why I'm
shit.
like,
I wasn't
yes,
quite the
this is
gun was
exactly
shit.
the route I would like to think I would take. Just and I love that you wrote him a letter that was
I
like,
love
great.
ya.
Why don't you specifically say?
I
women
watch
are
your
never
shit,
allowed to
Angry
do
Cops,
it
because
again,
that's the
that's
kind
gonna
of
make
shit
my
that
life
I'd
easier.
watch.
can
I
move
know
on
these
without
women
you, like, I don't
briefly
have to deal with
a
your
long time ago.
garbage.
Yeah, I watch your shit.
I love it so much.
If it's talking, it's I want to watch it.
And now I have a checklist.
Because then
and
my
it's like
fucking
on
shyness
the
has to
checklist.
go away.
Yeah.
I feel like lately my list of travel things is getting very long.
I never give myself away with talking,
But
but a lot of people do, and that's really sad. So anyway,
Anyway, those are my thoughts.
see what I was saying? I wasn't saying it, but see what I mean? People cover it for me all the time by accident, just because they're passionate too about reading and understanding.
On Netflix now.
It's an awesome world.
I mean,
I just get so fucking negative. Well, I just took Tylenol. Sometimes even when I take Tylenol, it's not the right time to take Tylenol. So it doesn't do anything.
Yeah, you can go check it out at Netflix. If you search for our show, it's gonna come up.
It's right there. You can click the, what's it called? The remind me button is the one that will tell you when new episodes show up.
Yeah.
Also, this is a great way to resolve a thing that a lot of
Mom, is
people
Uncle Doug coming up this
have told
summer?
us about, which is that they have seen photos of us
Hard to
and they
say.
hear us
He just got
talking,
let go from
and
his
they have
job.
mixed up
I don't
our
know.
faces with our voices. And then
Yeah.
they meet us out in the world somewhere or come to a live show.
He said he wasn't
Not that
too
we've
worried.
done
He had
anything
another
very
job he'd
long.
probably be able to go to
Then it's
right away.
it's a discomforting
Oh.
His
experience.
son feels
So you
good.
can watch on Netflix
I
and
bet,
just get
yeah.
all of that out of the way before having an in-person experience ever.
Yeah. Yep. So there we are. So
Buy
you can
more
check
of
us
that
out there.
Dettol
More
soap
ways to
for all
enjoy
the
show.
bug
You are
bites
already
in the
watching on
summer.
Netflix. We thank
Buy
you.
it
If you
now.
haven't
It's
yet, you
$9
wanna check it
for
out.
3
There it will
bars.
be,
And
going
if you
forward.
are listening on some other medium, that's not going away. Netflix is addition, not a replacement.
Yeah, if you're like, oh no, I listen while I walk, you still can. No problem. Yeah, no problem. Whatever platform you're using is gonna work just fine. But then if
I
you
made
want
it
to
to the
listen one
top.
day while you sit on the couch at home, you
I
can
am
do
worried
that
I'm going to lose my
too.
job.
Options.
I'm not allowed to just show up and so they'll call me how they always do.
This is your weekend coming up. You have time off. I hope that you use that time to make the world a better place, but also do you use that time to rest and recuperate. We need you as strong and well rested as you can be in the days that we are living in. If you do not have time off this weekend and you have responsibilities or you are scheduled for work, I hope that everyone is cool to you, that you still get
They
time
fixed all
to
the
yourself
damage
to
from when I
center
dropped the weight
and
like this.
recuperate from all of the things that are going on in the world. I think we all need to be very
And then I
mindful
stopped
of our
having
nervous
like
systems
so
right
much
now
of that
and what
fever
we can
feeling.
and cannot do in a given day,
That's sweet.
and try to do our very best. Like I said, please take care of one another. We will be right back here on Monday with a brand new episode. Welcome to Stuff You Missed in History Class, a production of iHeartRadio.
Fuck.
Hello and welcome to the podcast of Holly Fry. And I'm Tracy Hewelton. It's Olympics time once again. Yes. We've discussed the Olympics many times on the podcast before. But today we are going to focus on women who participated in the early iterations of the modern Olympic Games, or at least tried to. One of the people that we're talking about today is technically not an Olympian. She was not allowed to compete. She was also not a woman, but a teenage child. And we're juxtaposing their stories against the famously problematic case of Pierre de Coubertin when it came to women in sports. So we're going to talk about three sportswomen of the early 1900s and the work that they did to be part of the Olympic Games. I'm laughing because we've talked
I'm
about
hungry.
Pierre de Coubertin a number of times. And I just sort of forgot that layer, like I jettisoned it from my mind. And now I've been reminded. It's interesting because there have, as we're about to discuss, been some efforts to kind of rehab his misogyny a little bit.
Nope.
But then when I look back at his actual writing, there's no way around it, which we will talk about as we go on.
So, the 1900 Olympic Games, those were the first ones in which women were allowed to participate. And you might imagine, based on what we just said, that's almost miraculous, given that the recognized father of the modern Olympic movement, Pierre de Coubertin, was just not a fan of women in sports. He's known for saying inspiring things like, quote, "Sport is the birthright of all, equally and to the same degree, and nothing can replace it." But also saying, quote, "As to the admission of women to the games, I remain strongly against it. It was against my will that they were admitted to a growing number of competitions."
There's actually a really interesting framing of all of this on the internet, on the International Olympic Committee website, where this problem and this problematic ideology is framed as Coubertin protecting women. The IOC shares the Coubertin quote from his writing in 1928, which states, "If some women want to play football or box, let them, provided that the event takes place without spectators, because the spectators who flock to such competitions are not there to watch a sport." So they're making the case that he didn't want any lecherous looky-loos being unchivalrous around ladies in sport. Which also kind of brings up the issue of, like, is that the only reason you can think of that someone might want to watch women do athletic things? The IOC does note that he left the decision to the Olympic Committee, and he didn't block women from the games, even though he was openly against it.
Yeah, the IOC is clear, though, that his opposition to women's sports was ongoing.
I bet actually that the reason I showed up was to see if I was still huffing and puffing after I took the stairs. Which I'm not, it's just a bit.
He had some very crazy words when women had to take matters into their own hands with this.
So women were allowed to participate in the 1900 Olympic Games in Paris, but only in 5 of the 20 categories. And those were croquet, equestrianism, golf, sailing, and tennis. Comedically, the poster that became the most popular for the Games and was adopted as the primary advertisement for the 1900 Olympic Games was one that depicted a woman in fencing gear carrying
So you
the
hate me
royal
because
epee
some
and saber,
1900s
despite the fact that women
Luther
were still barred
theology.
from fencing in the games. That poster was created by Jean de Paleologue, who was
Because I
a
played
very
football
popular
and
poster
all
artist in
throughout
Europe
school.
and the U.S. at the time. It is unclear why he depicted a woman fencer in it. I never found any documentation of why he went that route.
That inclusion of sailing as a sport women could participate in for the 1900
If you
games.
hold on to a
Door
fake
for our
ideology
first
that was
notable
premised
woman from
as a
Olympic
pressured
history. Hélène
stigmatism
de Courtelet was born
for over
Hélène
1,000
Baudet
years,
in
you're a
York
mental
City
fucking
on
retard.
April 28, 1868.
Fact.
But she was from the beginning a child who really lived in two worlds. The first, New York, was where her mother's family was located. Mary Lorillard, Hélène's mother, was an heiress to the Lorillard Tobacco Company's fortune. And then her father, Henri Isaac Baudet, was
No,
sick.
it's that I'm so much better
He
than
had made a
everyone,
lot of
and
money
I'm sick,
through
so
US
everyone
investments,
laughs.
including in railroads. This family had homes in New York and in Switzerland, and they would spend
Well,
the
through
autumn and
the
winter in
normal
US,
people,
and then go to Europe for the summer.
I got a lot of
When
embracement and a
Hélène,
lot of
the
fucking
second of her
boxes of
son's
donuts.
children, was young, she stayed on that
Yeah.
schedule. But then once she was
Because I was
35,
really good at football. I'm not the
Switzerland became
best.
her primary residence.
One of the only females,
Specifically also the primary
except
residence
for
of her
Little
siblings,
Miss Anderson.
because her parents became concerned
You know?
that New York was not good for the children, what with
Janelle
all the
Anderson.
crowds and pollution.
So life in Geneva, Switzerland for the family
Sophie
was one of wealth and privilege. Among the
Gar
many luxuries they
Bodestater.
enjoyed were boats, which
She was evil.
Henri loved, and he passed that love on to his children.
He said I was
Boating
evil.
was a huge part of their family life on Lake Geneva. Henri had his own
Just don't get me
steam-powered
started because
yacht
it
there,
sucked
which he brought
ass
to
when
North
everyone was saying
America,
that.
and the family was close with other Geneva families as well who shared their love of yachting.
So it makes sense that she married a man from one of those families. That was Count Armand Alexandre
If I just
de
skip this
Courtelet,
fucking
who was
munchy
her
munch,
senior by 21 years. They got married
probably
in
lose this.
1891 when Hélène was 23. Her husband's first wife had died 3 years before he and Hélène got married. And then when they got married, Hélène became the stepmother to 4 Courtelet children.
Hélène's time on the water continued as a wife, as she and Armand not only yachted and sailed together for enjoyment, they also competed in regattas regularly, and they won quite a few of them. So when the 1900 Games opened up its sailing entries, they had already been in a constant state of training and winning. They were considered some of the very best boaters in Europe at this point. Hélène and Armand registered to compete with their sailboat Larina, representing Switzerland, with a crew consisting of themselves and Armand's nephew, Bernard Alexandre Georges Edmond de Courtelet.
During the qualifying round, on
You
May
are
20th,
a mental
1900,
retard.
the Larina, which was in the 20-foot class, both literally and figuratively sailed through the
I competed in the
11-kilometer
Olympics.
course known as the Concours d'Honneur. That event took place
And I
at
won.
Moulins-en-Yvelines,
So that's
just
food on your
northwest
fucking
of
table.
Paris.
So turn around and say that's not ladylike. Who gives a fuck about a lady anyway?
Provide much wind at all for their sails, but that was something they were already really good at, so it did not pose a challenge for the two of them. That was not the case for everybody, though. According to Olympic historians, of the more than 49 boats that entered the qualifiers, only 7 of them finished within the required time limit. And the finishing group got cut down to only 5 because 2 of them were disqualified for cheating. They had used some kind of propulsion that was more than their sails to make up for this lack of wind that day. Those numbers can be very confusing. We will talk more about that.
It's about to get real weird with the numbers. So, the first race for the Courtelet Switzerland team took place on the Seine on May 22nd, and the Lorraine sailed under the assigned number 22 in the 1 to 2 ton category. This was a 19-kilometer course. That is a little more than 10 nautical miles. You want standard miles, that's almost 12. And it was a difficult course, as 9 or perhaps 65 competitors had qualified, and there was a lot of maneuvering to get from the start to the finish to accommodate all of those yachts. Listen, That's a big gap in numbers, and it doesn't match up with the numbers Tracy just said. And it is one of the many problems with historical accounts of the 1900 games. 65 participants is almost certainly wrong. There were not anywhere near that many qualifiers or even people who tried to qualify. There are only 9 boats listed in the official record, which contradicts that previous number of 7 qualifiers. But the journal Yachting World that was on scene reported 65. That magazine also described the confusion of the race due to the many participants. Quote, the river was absolutely blocked with vessels of all shapes, rigs, and sizes, and it became exceedingly difficult to keep clear of each other. The big vessels, which had started later, brought up a breeze with them and ran right up to the smaller craft, so that at the mark, every boat was huddled up together.
Because of the general confusion about this event, it's possible that there were some non-qualified boats in the water. Maybe people just running this course for themselves. Or maybe a journalist pumped up the numbers.
Haha, you tried to
Or
steal my
maybe that
identity.
journalist didn't do it on
Haha.
purpose, they just didn't
Yeah.
understand
When you
what was
suffer for
happening, and they
eternity,
were
you fucking
confident
ugly
boats that were
bitch.
not actually trying to compete. It's all really unclear why the periodical Yachting World was just so far off the numbers compared to everyone else.
I'm willing to cut them some slack, though, because as we have talked about on the show before, there was confusion about the Olympics being wrapped up with the 1900 exposition, and some people that competed in the Olympics didn't even know it was the Olympics. They just thought they were doing like some sporting event for the expo. So it's possible that there were more boats in the water because they thought they were doing an expo regatta, and we don't know. We can't unravel this particular knot. But what we do know is that Hélène served as the Lorraine skipper, and she and her team won that race. They were awarded the gold medal. And there is also some confusion about whether or not they got an additional prize. We're going to talk about that in a moment. That is also tied to those less than thorough or less than clear accounts that we have of the event. There was a second race on May 27th on the same course with the same boats, and in that one, the Lorraine took the silver, while the German boat Aschenbroder won the gold. Why were there 2 races that were essentially identical, made up of the same competitors, that didn't end up with an aggregate score to determine an overall champion? We don't know.
Unclear. For a long time, and you'll still see it in a lot of places, tennis player Charlotte Reinigle Cooper was credited as being the first woman to win an Olympic gold medal. She did win in women's singles tennis, but Cooper didn't receive her medal until later on in the games on July 11th. That was 50 days later after compared to when the Lorraine team went to the gold. This oversight has also been because Cooper was a solo competitor, whereas Hélène de Portales was part of a team. We actually made this distinction in our episode about Charlotte Cooper, came out a couple of years ago. And because Hélène did not ever compete again, she just wasn't somebody whose name stayed in the news. In addition to all those factors, though, there's also the fact that the entire yachting category at the 1900 Games has been a matter of debate among Olympic historians.
Yeah, as we said, these specific games have come up on the show before in an episode dedicated to them by prior hosts Sarah and Deblina, and by us when we did a live show about Pierre de Coubertin at the Dallas Museum of Art a number of years back. These games were a mess. As I said a moment ago, these ran in conjunction with the Paris Exposition. Many athletes were confused about whether or not they were participating in the Olympics. And as we talked about, even the reporting of the events was really confusing. And in addition to medals, the winners in some of the categories in the yachting events were given cash prizes. And that's led to arguments about whether those can be considered Olympic events at all. But if I understand correctly, after kind of going down a rabbit hole and trying to suss out like tables of events and who got what, again, which may or may not all be accurate, those cash prizes were not given for the 1 to 2 ton class that Hélène and her family participated in.
So in spite of all the messy and confused nature of the 1900 Paris Games, for a brief time, Hélène de Portales enjoyed kind of a spark of notoriety, at least among other yachting enthusiasts in Europe's aristocracy. Her husband, Herman, died 4 years later, and then she lived another 41 years without him. She died in Geneva in 1945.
In 1912, Pierre de Coubertin wrote an article titled Les femmes aux Jeux Olympiques, or Women in the Olympic Games. And in this article, he made it very clear where he stood on women participating in the Olympics. We're actually going to read a good bit from this because while he himself claims that chivalry is part of his logic and that his position is to the benefit of the women in the games, the things he wrote are undeniably sexist. One brief quote from it that women's athletics would be, quote, impractical, uninteresting, unaesthetic, and improper circulates all the time, but it's out of context. I think it's even worse in context. And the rest is, in my opinion, far more damning, and it really cannot be wrapped in any kind of revisionist bow.
So he opens by referencing a recent hopeful woman competitor. Quote, not long ago, an application signed by a neo-Amazon who intended to compete in the modern pentathlon was received. The Swedish committee, which was free to take its own position, refused the agreement in the absence of